Okay, so here we are in our first reading since Acts, and we're diving into Mark's Gospel towards the end with a really interesting passage. We're in Mark 13, verse 1 to verse 13. And Jesus is talking about the end of all things, signs of the end of the times and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I find these things quite hard to get my head around and get into. Lockdown and this pandemic and all the situation we're in, it kind of makes it easier for me to kind of get my head around. It's a big thing to think about. And at the end of Acts, we were looking at, what is the big picture call on your life? What it is, trying to have that big picture view on where are we going? What are we doing? What's the big idea in life? And this is kind of more of the same. Jesus is making sure they're not lost in the day-to-day and the big and small day-to-day stuff, but focusing on God and relationship with Jesus. And that's the key thing, isn't it? Paul says he knows what it is to be content in every circumstance in one of his letters. And that's, that's the dream, isn't it? Whatever's going on, Paul, we've read in Acts, goes through all this stuff and he's content in every circumstance and he trusts in God. And that's where we want to live. That's the mentally, spiritually, physically healthy place we want to live. And knowing the end from the beginning is really important. One thing that helps me, the way that looking to the end of the world and Jesus' return helps me, is looking at justice. There's loads of things about this world that I don't like, that are unfair, that are harsh, that are difficult, that are wrong, and it hurts. And we all have different passions about that. We all have different callings and where we kind of get to get our hands dirty and bring the goodness of God, the kingdom of God into this world. And for me, one of those places is homelessness. And today I am working on, with others, doing a lot of the hard work, how we help a guy find a safe place to live at the moment. And it helps me to think that actually when Jesus comes back, there will be justice for everything and everything will be made right. And when I'm crying over, the people who are sick and ill and for whom life is not fair, then I know that when Jesus returns, he'll bring justice for those people and he will make all things right. And I am working to make this world as good as it can be in the power of the Spirit in the time that's given to me, and see the goodness of God in the land of the living. But I love that however bad it gets or whatever's going on, I can look forward and see that God has got this in his hand. So I guess my question for you today is, what's God calling you to bring justice to? And how can you do that in the power of the Spirit, but also do it knowing that it's not all on you, and in the end, all will be made right in Jesus?